Hi, this is Kevin Deal from Upscale Audio, and today we're going to talk about the Focal Sopra 3 and my Grand Utopias at home. But first, I want to talk about my cool shirt. What do you think? This is a DJ manipulating or whatever some mariachis that are made out of skeletons, Day of the Dead stuff. What's that about? It's a big celebration. My oldest friend Steve has been found. This guy, when I was 12, he was 19. He was my best friend. We used to work together at Cal Stereo back in the 70s. And he's lived his life the way he wants to live it. And he was taken off on a boat, a sailboat. I'm going to sail around the world. He made it to Ensenada, and that was it. And I thought somebody killed him because no one had even heard from him. But I just found him. Now I've got a picture of him, he and I, at Husung's Cantina back in the day when I was probably 18 or something. And maybe I can find that picture for you. I'm going to go down and see him. I'm going to take him an integrated amp, I think, or help him out with some tunes and find out what's happening with my friend Wes. Wes is like 70 also, and he still goes to rave parties with his wife, who I think is over 70. And they still do mushrooms and maybe a little acid or a little molly or goofy or happy or sneezy or I don't know what the hell people are doing anymore. But God bless them for doing what they do. I roll a little differently, but that's okay. So what are we talking about today? This is a Sopra 3. And I gotta tell you, look at this speaker. This is in ash gray. And why is it in ash gray? Because you don't see it in this color anywhere. Because I got my Grand Utopias. When I got my Grand Utopias, that was right around the time of COVID starting. I moved into my new house, and I had to stop kind of working on my room because COVID made things so weird and busy. I had to take care of customers and not my own stuff. So the speakers are there, oh my God, and I love them. And I've been breaking them in, and they're just coming alive. And I love the ash gray. So I went to him and I go, hey man, can you make Sopras in gray? No, we don't do that. I said, well, what if I buy some of them? I'll buy more of them. And so we got a few pair of Sopra 1s, 2s, and 3s in ash gray, and I dig it because it's not black, but it's not colorful either. It's kind of sleek and bitchin'. And speaking of sleek and bitchin', look at this cabinet. Listen, man, you go look at my my Grand Utopias, and you look at them with a field coil woofer, which nobody does that, right? Nobody that I can think of does that kind of technology. And they're very expensive too, right? But there's speakers that are $650,000 out there where the manufacturer does not make the drivers in-house, right? They still buy them from a supplier like Focal. That's how Focal started. There are big speaker companies out there today that would not even exist if it were not for Focal and where they came from, which was really JM Labs back in the day, right? They were a research and development company that developed drivers. They made the parts that made other people's speakers great. And they said, what are we making other people rich for? Why don't we do it ourselves? And that's what they've done. And we love their stuff so much. And, you know, so when you look at speakers, they go, oh, buy a Bob Wart 29. Well, why should I buy that speaker? It's the best. Well, why is it the best? But it's the best, you know. I want to know what I'm getting for my money. And you need to know too. And I always tell you to break it down. So I want you to look at the white paper. We're going to link to it in the description. I want you to look at the white paper on this. And I want you to see so much of the technology that came from the $269,000 Grand Utopias came down into this speaker and what makes it so special. Let's look at the cabinet itself. First off, they wanted to create a speaker that was still a rather sleek size, not gigantic where your wife is going to hit you over the head with a frying pan, but still gave you the bass response and the bottom reach that you get from the great big ugly box speakers, right? And that was a lot of engineering. You know, they have this cabinet, they call it gamma structure. I've been to the factory, I've seen them. I've actually been to the paint shop where they paint these. And I've seen how everything is done in-house. This is a true fabricator. It's not that they have a research and development department. It's not that they have a guy in a spacesuit in a clean room making dome tweeters. It's not that they use lasers to look at the effect on drivers. I mean, it's not, I mean, it's that they do everything, and that's what makes them so bitchin'. So this cabinet was designed to give you a tremendous amount of bottom end out of a smaller cabinet and to be absolutely acoustically dead. I mean it. It's one thing to wrap your knuckles on the cabinet. It's another thing to be playing them and find out just truly how inert the cabinet is. Now, the magic of Focal has been, they have been a pioneer in the use of beryllium, and this is an inverted beryllium dome. And their beryllium domes are going to be another planet from other companies because of what they do with them. First off, they use a pour-on suspension, and I've talked about that before. This is a tweeter that literally has a small amount of excursion to it, and that's why it takes a long time to break in. And you idiots that say there's no such thing as break-in on a high-frequency driver, get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. The people that own Focal speakers that are on this channel, you know what I mean. You know it, whether you own Electras or Sopras or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. This high-frequency driver will change in its characteristic greatly over time. So this tweeter has a little bit of an excursion. And what they wanted to do with this is, in my Big Utopia speaker, they're able to deal with the back pressure. See, this dome is so light that if there's any kind of a back pressure or response from behind the dome, it can cause a resonance, and actually it can create its own problems. So they created this structure in here, and you can go see what this looks like inside. But literally, inside of here, there is a reverse horn behind the high-frequency driver to evacuate the back wave into an absorptive material so it does not resonate. And so the top end is so clean and so fast and just pristine. Just pristine and perfect. I love that. So there's a lot more to this than this being, oh, that looks like a cool design thing. No. It is there for a reason. Now, there's actually a vent here so the base cabinet can come up and take advantage of the area up here behind the mid-range driver. So the mid-range driver is in its own sub-enclosure, but still part of the box is being used to help develop bass response. Let's talk about this mid-range driver. I love Focal speakers because they use a little bit larger diameter mid-range. And I love that because there's a few speakers on the market. They use small, not all of them, but some that can have a tendency to sound a little bit like that, right? And I love that this is a 6.5-inch driver, a little bit bigger, and it just has a real open midband. But that's just where the beginning is. This uses something that you don't get in the lower price speakers, and it is called tuned mass damping. They are looking at a way to eliminate resonances and problems in the suspension. So they looked to the world of Formula One racing, and specifically the Renault team from years ago. And they found a way to develop a suspension that, you know what, I'm not even gonna, it's hard for me to describe it without your eyes rolling back in your head. Go to the white paper and look at what they did. Look at what they did to address this and how many different ways they had to design this. And the upshot is you're going to see little ridges here on the suspension, little dimples, right? And you might think that that's there to be cute, but it is not. It is all about science. It's all about science, making a speaker sound better, along with this W cone. You know, I've been to the factory again, and I've seen how they can manipulate this cone, and they can change the thickness of it. It is a sandwiched cone. And they can design this driver to be absolutely perfect to the application, and it is absolutely true. And the same thing with the magnet structure. There's just so much to talk about here. I'm kind of torn on what to cover and what not, because I know I'm going to bore the shit out of you. Now let's talk about the bass drivers. It has two 8.25-inch drivers, and again, They are super, super, super fast. Super fast. They give you the speed of a smaller diameter driver, but they give you the air movement of a much larger driver. But it's not just that. It's the way they were able to deal with magnetic losses in the pull piece and the use of a Faraday ring. I mean, all of these things, but they threw so much technology at it that I think other companies just don't really have access to if you're not able to use a lot of modeling and a lot of equipment that other manufacturers just don't have. So again, I don't want to bore the shit out of you. So really, I think that I should send you to this white paper that's on the link. And I think that it's important that you know what you are getting for your money and truly what makes this speaker so, so good. Look, you have to take your time to position this speaker to get the most out of it. The bass response is prodigious. Prodigious. It's very, very, I mean, I think you could be fooled into thinking, oh, well, this is a nice size, and it doesn't look like it's that big a speaker. The bottom end is amazing, and it could almost even overload a room that's like if the room is really small, an 8x8 room, which some people have. I think that, you should have it in a medium-sized room, is what I would guess, because the bottom end is just so powerful. If you're in a really small room, you might be better off with a Sopra 2, because that speaker is an overachiever. It's 91.5 dB efficient. The minimum impedance is 3.1 ohms. It works great with tube amps. A tube amp like a Prima Luna, a 36-watt tube amp, will absolutely make these sing. In fact, I was just on the phone with a customer that has these with an Evo 400, which is 70 watts, and it is just scary, scary, scary good. Damn, it's just a great speaker. And of course, it comes with grills, and we've got them in all kinds of colors. We have them in wood finishes. I mean, go to the website, and you can see pictures. But I had to show you this. And by the time you see this video, I don't even know if I'll have this color, but I thought it was kind of cool, and we should make them for you. And that's the point. I want to do stuff that's special for you people. I know what it's like to put my nose up against the window when I was 14 at a stereo store, to try to get something that was better than I thought I could afford. And that's really what I want this place to be about, and really what I want for you, period. It's about getting you something that you're happy with. So look, go to our website, come to our beautiful location in Southern California, talk to my non-commissioned salespeople. I want them to ask you the right questions. Before you replace your old speakers, really, make sure that you're getting the most out of them by spending time positioning them correctly. But if you want to do something new, I would suggest this one or all the other great choices we have at our store at Upscale Audio. Go to our website, talk to my great salespeople. I want you to know, Upscale Audio, we're going to treat your system like it's ours. Thank you.